Today we're going to talk about houseplant selection because when you walk into your favorite garden center, you're blown away by the selection that you can choose from. A lot of times we buy a plant just purely on the appearance without knowing much about it. So when we take it home, we put it in the wrong window or in the wrong space, and that plant slowly starts to decline. We want to take the same principles that we use for our outdoor gardening, for our indoor gardening. We want to put the right plant in the right place, and that holds true for houseplants. We want to make sure that we're putting the right plant in the right spot so it's happy and healthy. Typically, there are 3 limiting factors when it comes to houseplants indoors. That's temperature, humidity, and light. Temperature and humidity is usually managed by our heating and air conditioning system, but light is our most limiting factor. When we look at plants, we can divide them into 3 groups. We can put them into a bright light group, medium, or low light. Bright light is going to be that south-southwest facing side of the house and those floor-to-ceiling windows. The medium light group is going to be plants that are going to get between 4 and 6 hours of good bright light, not necessarily direct sun, but this is going to be a room that you're going to be easily able to read a book by without using a lamp. And then when we move to the low light plants, these are going to be the group of plants that like 2 to 4 hours of good bright light, but then the rest of the day that room is fairly dim. This is going to be a room that you're going to need a lamp to read by. So hopefully that will help distinguish between the different type of light values. But now we're going to start talking about the plants. The first plant I want to talk about is here. This is the anthurium. Anthuriums are a popular plant, but some of the new cultivars on the market have a lot of pizzazz to them. They like good bright light, so they want that 6 to 8 hours of good bright light, but they also like water. So if you're kind of heavy on the watering can, this is a plant that you might want to choose from. And then we also have the tried and true favorite, the rubber plant. This plant is pretty popular, and some of the new cultivars on the market can give it some really great variegation. It likes a lot of good bright light. It's an easy plant to take care of, so it's a good plant that you might want to try. Before we go on to the medium light plants, let's talk about herbs. We often forget about herbs as a possible house plant. They provide us form and function, and we can cook with them. And some of those herbs are mint. Mint is a really easy plant to grow. It likes good bright light, a lot of great fragrance, and you can cook with it. Rosemary, you can't beat rosemary. Rosemary has a lot of great culinary uses and a lot of great fragrance. And then we can't forget our parsley. Just a fun plant to have. Now, all of our herbs kind of like it on the dry side when it comes to moisture, but they want that good bright light. So they might not be in the kitchen, but you can always bring them into the kitchen when you need to cook. Medium light plants are going to be more of our plants that want that 4 to 6 hours of good bright light. Something that you may have not heard of is called the Syningia. Great plant, gorgeous little orange flowers, a lot of fun to play with. Our ferns are a medium light plant. They like high humidity, so we're going to talk about humidity in a later episode, but you want to group these together because they like those really moist locations. And then we can't forget about the spider plant. Tried and true. It's a traditional plant, not a lot of pizzazz to it, but you can't kill it. This is one of those medium light plants that you might want to try. And then to wrap things up, low light plants, such as the ZZ plant, does really great in those dark corners of the homes that might get 2 to 4 hours of good bright light, but the rest of the day it's kind of dim. A ZZ plant is a really nice one to play with. And then we have the other popular philodendrons and pothos. There are so many new cultivars coming onto the market, you can have a lot of fun with it. This particular one is called Bricken, where it has a nice variegation as those new leaves start to come out and then they fade to green. So just a lot of fun to go with. Like I said, this is a lower light plant, so it wants that 2 to 4 hours of good bright light and then a dim location for the rest of the day. I can't tell you everything about all these plants, but hopefully this will give you some good tips for new plants to try, and don't be afraid to do some research before you buy.